Hi everyone, my name is Donnie, and in today's video, I am going to share with you why learning to automate is a must. So, we're actually now entering an age wherein what we have been doing before as human beings can now be done by robots. So, many advanced countries are now using robots in order to perform tasks, okay, that were assigned to human beings before. Like, so in manufacturing, we have robots that can complete many parts of the production. Even here in the Philippines, we have some robots that can already perform either sending your orders from the cashier towards your table. In other countries, and even here in the Philippines, we have robots that can clean. So as you could see, it's very important that we learn how to automate because we're starting to go to that time, that era that uh, things are being automated. And don't think that automation is just for skilled tasks. Okay, so nowadays we also have AI, and there are a lot of AI tools available online. It can already write essays on its own, it can generate reports, it can calculate anything simply by typing a sentence. So we're now entering a world wherein we have to really learn at least one language, one method to automate. We have to upgrade ourselves because otherwise we will be irrelevant, okay, to organizations. If you are familiar, some organizations are starting to lay off employees massively because many of the tasks are now automated. So for us to be protected somehow, okay, through to this time and period, it may be beneficial that we can automate things as well, right? And like what I said, so automation allows tasks to be completed efficiently and on time. And who doesn't want that, right? Who doesn't want to have more time to do other things? It can remove repetitive tasks. So many things that we do are actually patterned or pattern based or sequential, and this can be automated. You can program something to do things, and it can just follow your program, your code, and it's done. It can also help lessen human errors. So since we have a program, a robot, or a module that can perform tasks, it eliminates the times that we may not be in the mood to do things. We may commit, we may overlook something and commit errors. So automation removes that. It also saves costs for the company. So if we learn to automate, the company gets more resources, and that is your time. You can do other things. You can help enhance whatever you're supposed to do. You can have other tasks performed, and that would save costs for the company instead of hiring more people to do the task. Especially nowadays, there are many things to do because of a lot of transactions, a lot of data. Automation can somehow mitigate costs. And for us, okay, regular people who doesn't really know computer science to program things, we can at least learn one programming language. And personally, I feel that VBA is a very important automation language because it's the one used by Excel. And honestly, who doesn't use Excel, right? If you work in an organization that has a lot of data, then therefore you must be using somehow Excel or any of its variants like Google Sheets or LibreOffice. And the thing is that knowing how to automate Excel can somehow upgrade your skill set. So VBA is your next step if you have already mastered Excel functions. And like what I said, VBA automates Excel, the program that is everywhere. You go to Singapore, you go to Thailand, you go to the United States, you go to United Kingdom, or even here in the Philippines, you just go to another company, you will still use Excel there. It's the most common program used. So learning how to automate it is actually very useful. Okay, now or maybe in your future. So the next question now is that what are the sample uses of VBA? So let me share with you some of the ways that I use VBA for myself. So for example, here I have a file. So since I'm a teacher, I'm a trainer, so I make certificates for my participants. And imagine if you have like 50 participants. So do I have to create a certificate for everyone? Well, no. I simply have to use VBA. So I have a list of the names here, and then I put in the information that I want to be in the certificate. I identify what folder I will put the certificate in. So just to show you, I have this folder here that is already in the Excel worksheet, the address, okay, showing that I want the certificate to be in the folder named public. And to show you, I have the folder here, and as you could see, it's currently empty. So now that I have a program that can do this for me, so I already have the design here, and I have the details I want to be uh, placed in my certificates. I simply have to click generate, maybe put some identifier code, and then click OK. And now you can watch as Excel generates the PDF files on its own. And it says it's now done, and that's it. I now have the certificate done, okay, simply by just clicking it, right? It only took me 10 seconds to do that. Imagine if you have to do that manually, then you would have to copy paste the data, the names one by one, print as PDF, etc. So VBA can help you automate these things. Another example that I have, let me share this with you. Okay, is this one. So let's say here I have a dashboard and it contains several charts and I'm getting the data from this. So you can see a lot, okay, of data. And let's say that your supervisor or your manager wants to update, okay, this dashboard every day. So imagine all the things that you have to do just to complete all the charts, all the reports in this dashboard. So now, since I have a Visual Basic program to do this, then I could simply fill out the data that I have here and then click the update table, and I just have to now sit back, relax as VBA performs the tasks on its own. So you just have to wait and let Excel do its magic, and that's it. It's done, right? So you don't have to perform the same things over and over again every day. The dashboard is now updated. And that's what VBA can do for you. It can help you process large data on its own. It can help you generate reports on its own. So simply by that, you can see how important VBA is. Now, the next question is that is VBA difficult? Is it something that you can learn? Well, of course. I'll be honest with you. It can actually be self-taught, but it's going to take a lot of time. So if you undergo a training for Visual Basic, it would be faster because somebody would be able to explain the concepts, okay, the things that you have to learn or you have to really know when you want to learn how to automate. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you a simple program, okay, and I'll explain some concepts so that you can somehow have an idea what you are going to learn when you do VBA. So for example, here I have a data wherein I have sort of like a journal entry kind of data. So I have the date of the transaction, the expense code, what type of expense it was, who's the person, and the transaction amount. And I want to separate the data that I have here into different worksheets. Okay, so you see here I already prepared tabs that the data from the journal entries will be distributed into. Of course, you can do this one by one. You can go to data and put some filter on your data range, and then just filter the expense codes one by one. But imagine if you have many expense codes and you have to do this every day, so that means that it's going to be very tedious and a waste of time if you are just simply filtering and copy pasting data every day. Maybe you can create a program in Excel that can do that for you. So here's how you're going to do it. Okay, I want to show you the idea behind it, what's the logic, what's how to work on it, and hopefully share with you that it's actually something that you can learn. It's not impossible to decipher the concept. So whenever you want to begin or create your code, you have to start with the developer tab and then go to Visual Basic. And then you will now have the Visual Basic editor. And on the left side, you should see a list of the worksheets that are in your file. And from there, you simply have to insert a module. So a module is a program that Excel will read in order to perform the tasks. So the first step that you have to do is provide a name to your module. So you have to start it with the word sub, and then you could just put any name that you want, okay, for your code, for your macro. So I just typed here hello world. I don't have any name I can think of anyway. And then open, close parentheses, that's a requirement, and then enter. So the space that was produced between the sub and the end sub is where you put your code, okay, where you put the instructions. So the first step that we're going to do is we have to identify what cells will our cursor travel onto. So we can see that the data is until row 60. It starts at row 2 and ends at row 60. So we will put that into code. So I will go here. So I will say for x is equal to 60. So it means that I have this variable x, and the value of x will be from the number 2 to the number 60. And if you're wondering, like, what if the data changes? What if I have more than 60 rows? Well, there's a code for that. But for the sake of this video, for the sake of introducing VBA, we will not go that in depth. Okay, so I'll just type here 60 for the sake of this file. And then the next is I have to activate the cell. So I will use the command cells. So as you could see, it's very straightforward. VBA is in English, and you can simply type the code and you will get an instruction. You will get a tooltip that will tell you what it needs. So the first thing it needs is the row index number, and that would be given to us by the variable x. For the column, the most logical column for our cursor to navigate is column C. It has the expense codes, which matches the name of the worksheets, right? So the name of the worksheet matches the name of the expense code. So we'll maximize that. We'll utilize that in our program. So I would say, okay, column 3, okay, or column C. So Excel uses numbers. So column 3 dot activate. So now I have here activated the cell from row 2 all the way to 60 later on, and then column 3. And now I have to get what expense code I have. So I'll type E is equal to what the value of the cell is. So remember, I'm in the third column. So I'm going to use another variable, let's say E, in order to get the value of where the cursor is will be at the moment. And then I have to copy the entire row. So I would put this code, and you may wonder like, would you be able to memorize these codes? Well, of course, if you start, it's going to be quite new to you. So you may have some handout, you may have some manual, you may have some handbook that you can use, which I can actually provide to you. But later on, if you keep using VBA, these are things that you will eventually memorize. Like as you could see, I already memorized them because I've been using VBA a lot. So now I have copied the row where the cursor is at the moment. And now it's time to activate the corresponding worksheet. So for that, I would use the command sheets. So which sheet should I activate? Okay, well, I need to first, okay, use E because remember E contains the expense code. So sheets E dot activate. So remember E, this picked up the expense code. So let me put a note here, picked up the expense code for that row. So now I activated the worksheet for that expense code using this command. So the name of the worksheet is here, E. And then once I have activated the corresponding worksheet, I need to find a blank cell where I would paste the line that I just copied. So just to let you know, I actually already have the tabs with the headers. So I just have to find a blank cell. So for that, the command would be this. So I would put the cursor at column A and then go to the use the control up option, and then from the last row of my entire worksheet I will control up, but I would have to move one cell downwards because remember when you control up you would end up in a cell that has a value on it, so you have to go down one cell. So offset 10, select. So now this will help us find a blank cell. Okay, and I hope you see that notes can somehow help you, okay, understand your code. So copy the row. This one is to activate corresponding worksheet. Okay, so now we have activated a blank cell and now we're going to paste. So for paste, we say active sheet that paste. Straightforward. And then we have to go back to the sheet that was named journal, okay, because we need to get the next row. And then we now have completed the process. So we're now going to test if the code is going to work. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to test it by clicking the play button, and just to show you, okay, there's nothing here, there's nothing in our tabs, and then we're now going to run our code. So we'll click this and watch as the code performs the task. So as you could see, the screen is shaking a bit because the code is running on its own. So it's doing its task. I think it's somewhere. Hope it's going to be done. Okay. All right. And it's done. We can now see each of the tabs. And as you could see here, we now have the data distributed from each of the worksheets. You now have a ledger kind of report, okay, that got the data from the main journal. And that's how it works. Okay, so you simply have to imagine or narrate, okay, what you're going to do, and then convert that into code, and then that's it. It's now going to work. And if you find it, wow, this is difficult. Well, yes, everything is difficult at the beginning, but whenever you practice, your skill will definitely be updated. You will always remember this thing, and it will eventually become easy to code. And I hope in this video I showed you, okay, why VBA is a must learn. So you can see you can do code in just like 5 minutes, as long as, of course, you know the code, and do this and have this file that is ready to perform the task for you every day. Imagine all the time you will save, okay, because of the code that you just did. And this is where we end the video. I hope you liked it, and I hope to see you in our training. And for now, that's it. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.